Okay, so for today, you read a chapter on how to write various different kinds of proposals. So this presentation is really going to take what you learned in that chapter and connect it to the proposal that you will need to write for your instructions project. So the proposal that I am asking you to write for your instructions project most closely resembles the internal solicited proposal that is on page 369 to 370 of the proposal writing reading. So it's a more simple, pared down proposal that usually goes to your bosses when you have an idea to fix something, to include a process, etc. I do want to bring your attention, though, to the CRAP principles in this memo. See, we have a nice header with contrast, headings, we have some subheadings over here. You see bullet points, everything is nicely aligned. So just remember, always keep those CRAP principles in mind. So before you really get down to writing that proposal, I want you to do some planning about the instructions in general. So these are asking yourself things like, what do you want to write instructions about? What needs instructions? So what type of instructions are you going to write? Who would benefit most from these instructions? Why? What's the current situation? What would it be a solution for? So throughout the rest of this, we're going to use the example of somebody who might want to write instructions on how to use the cooking app, All the Cooks. Now, All the Cooks is it's really more of a recipe app. It's a way to collect and organize recipes. It gives you the ingredients that you need. You can obviously use it on your phone, so you can use it when you're grocery shopping. But that's going to be our example for the rest of this. So in thinking about that, think about who you think would benefit most from writing these instructions. Or from who would benefit most from those instructions. My first audience that came to mind was really the idea of students or new cooks. And then why? What's the current situation? I think they're really just learning how to cook. They don't have a good app yet, and maybe they just need something that's going to help them keep track of their recipes in a place that's easy to access. Everybody has a phone. That's a good place to keep it. So for the purpose of your proposal that you're writing for this, we are only going to focus on a few areas. The few areas that we're leaving off are things like qualifications and budget. We are leaving off the budget because this really shouldn't cost any money, and because of the smaller scope of this particular proposal, qualifications, so why you're qualified to write the instructions, seem unnecessary. So the following sections are the ones that I want included in the proposal. So first, like every good document, where there is an introduction. This sets up the context for a document, so it defines the subject, it states that main point, it stresses the importance, it offers some background info, and then it forecasts the organization of the document, lets the reader know what's going to be coming. So, a very brief and simplified example of an intro paragraph that would do all of these moves for our All the Cooks app would be, due to the fact that college students newly living on their own may not have much cooking experience, many of them may choose an app such as All the Cooks for their phone to collect recipes. It will be important that they know how to use this app effectively. Therefore, instructions for this will be necessary. The proposal will outline the current situation, the project plan, and the benefits of creating instructions for the All the Cooks app. So you can see right off the bat, it gives a little bit of context, the fact that college students are new, living on their own, don't have a lot of cooking experience. It will be important for them to be able to use this app effectively, and that's why instructions will be helpful. And then that last sentence really kind of goes over the rest of the sections that will be covered. So again, this is a very small, underdeveloped example, but I think you get the idea of what the introduction should do. Next thing is that you want to talk about the current situation. So define and describe the problem. Discuss the causes and effects of the problem, and discuss effects if nothing is done. So this is really talking about why these instructions are necessary, why they are needed. So back again to the All the Cooks app. Students don't know how to cook, or maybe they have limited cooking experience. Students have always had parents or dining halls cook for them, and they've never had to think about what ingredients it takes to make a meal. So those are, again, defining the problem and then talking about the causes and effects of the problem. And then if we look at the effects if nothing is done, students might download another app if they can't figure out how to use All the Cooks. They may continue to eat out, spending large amounts of money, and it may be unhealthy. So again, you might want to go into some more developed details about how much money it's spending or how it might be unhealthy. They might end up being 30 years old and on the edge of a heart attack. They could be saving money to buy a house, etc. But those are the things you want to talk about in this current situation. Next up is the project plan. So this is where you identify that solution. Again, those instructions for whatever it might be. And then discuss the deliverables or outcomes. And I want you to think of this as describing what the instructions would cover in terms of information that it would have, or what it might look like visually. So go back to the All the Cooks app, you would identify that problem as instructions on how to use the app would help students save recipes and have access to the ingredients right on their phone. Discussing what the outcome is going to look like, the instructions would cover how to save recipes from the app or other websites. It would instruct users on how to categorize and organize them. It would be easy to use, read on their phone, as that is where the app would also be. So right at the beginning of this second bullet, we give two types of information, categories of information it would cover. How you could save recipes from a couple of different places, and then how you could categorize or organize them. Then we also talk about what it would look like visually. So it would be easy to use, read on their phone. So we would make it pretty web friendly. So because students all have smartphones, are on their smartphones a lot, we'd want them to be able to easily access it there. Next up, let's talk about those benefits. What will the users gain from the instructions, and how will they be helped, thinking about long-term, short-term? Students will easily be able to find and organize recipes with All the Cooks if they have clear instructions. So that's what they'd be able to gain, right? We all want to use things that we know how to use, and if it's very easy to find out how to use, the better. So we get more people using the All the Cooks app. Thinking about long-term, short-term issues, they'll save money, they'll save time, they'll stay healthy. Of course, you want to elaborate here, again, kind of going back to that idea of they can go on vacations and buy themselves new clothes. They can have time to devote to other things. They can stay healthy. They have time to go out walking or to the gym. So these are things that you would want to really go into detail about. Again, you're really trying to sell this idea of instruction. So the more you can hit home those benefits, the better. And then finally, if you have an introduction, you must have a conclusion. So here you want to restate those main points. Now, I know this seems repetitive. I think a lot of tech writing, it might seem repetitive because you are restating, but don't think of it as being repetitive. Think about it as reminding them. You don't want your readers to kind of question why at any point why they're reading this or why this is helping them. You have to remind them, and then that doesn't leave any of those questions in their mind. You want to thank them for their time. You want to provide some clear action. Do they contact you? If so, have contact info. So again, here a very short, underdeveloped concluding paragraph. Instructions for All the Cooks app will help students achieve their goals of learning to cook and staying healthy. Thank you for your time and consideration. Please contact me with any questions. Again, this could be developed more, but I think you get the idea of what is needed in a conclusion.